We have one other thing we do for all new members who come in. We form a committee when we get up to 8, 10, 12 new members, and the club provides $200 per member for a new project. And this is a new member project, and we have a list of things that they can pick from, and they pick the projects they want. They have 2 co-chairs. One chair is a regular member of the club, and one of the other chairs comes from the new member committee. And they will wear their red dot until they complete their project. And it usually takes
hand out the new. You are one step ahead of me, Dell, because I got a handout describing.
Orientation.
No, the membership. Here, community project right here.
Okay, all right.
Have the other. More and more clubs are taking their new members as a class. Like all the new members that have come in over a period of 3 months or 4 months, or it depends on the size of your club. And what they're saying is, okay, we are going to give you a budget. One club I'm familiar with gives them a budget of $500 and says it is your responsibility to come up with a community project to use these funds. And you can't just write a check for $500. There needs to be some planning and some work involved in this thing. And if you go over the $500, come to the board and request more funds if that's what you need. And this club gives them 6 months to do the project, and then to come back to the entire membership and say, well, our new member class, we did such and such, and we spent $425. You know, we don't really care what the project is. That's not the number one reason for this. The number one reason is these new members are working together as a team. They are making friends. They are making contacts. They are out in the community. They are at planning sessions. They are in contact with email and telephone and Facebook. It might just be going out in a park and picking up litter. It could be something very, very simple, and they don't even have to spend the $500. We don't care. What we do care is, they said, we really gelled, we are a team, and the 7 of us just really came together, and incidentally, we did this project. Try it, folks. The caliber of your new members will be a lot, they'll have a much more, a larger commitment to your club after starting out their first 6 months that way. What you were just distributed is a, let's see, have we distributed the new member orientation thing, that 2-page deal? Okay, all right, let's do that right now.
Sure. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, and there's some really cool stuff on there, and I want to reaffirm to all of you, none of this is required. All they are is suggested guidelines. Go through and pick out what you think will fit your club. And there might be all kinds of stuff in there that could be added. I only wish that I had about a 3-hour session with you, because I tell you, we would get a ton of stuff done. I've got 75 minutes and just a handful of candy bars. So, you know, we have to get through this just as quick as we can. Don't read the new member Rotary orientation right now, but read it tonight or tomorrow. Highlight, take notes, and things like that. Okay. One other question about orientation. Should anybody else be at the orientation other than the brand new members? And if so, who? The sponsor. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, our board members.
Board members are invited. Very good.
Just a mentor.
The mentor, if it's a different person than the sponsor, absolutely. Members of the membership committee. Certainly the club president.
When we used to do the
fireside at night rather than the way they're doing it now. We had the wife or the spouse of the member come because it's important for that spouse to know what this Rotarian person is doing all the time. They're going to meetings and they're working on projects. They need
And
to
they're
know.
writing out checks. So. Bingo, a candy bar for Georgia. Very good, Georgia. Bring the spouses, at least let them know they are welcome. When the spouse is writing out a check for $150 or whatever it is every quarter, and they're gone to these meetings and they're asked to be involved in these committees and to give a lot of volunteer time, and the spouse is saying home and say, well, what are you doing? What's Rotary all about anyway? The only time I hear Rotary is when you're gone, when you're not here. So it's a team deal. So the bottom line is new member orientation. The wider, the broader the attendees, the better they will understand the purpose of this. Okay. The next one, Chris, we are going to talk about how your clubs do for mentoring. There is a difference between sponsoring and mentoring. Oh my gosh. Why don't we just throw away and say we don't even have to deal with that? That's for next year. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's start from scratch.
My score, we have a 10 on mentoring.
You have a score of 10 on mentoring.
We're doing it.
Would you like to teach this next 10 minutes? Whoa.
So this is one that
That's
didn't
pretty
get
awesome.
recorded.
There's a difference between sponsoring and being a mentor. Some people are excellent sponsors. You know why? Because they know how to invite, they know how to attract, and they can bring people in. And thank God for those people. But they don't know how to mentor. They just don't get it. Or they will not follow through. That's okay. You got them in the door. But these people deserve to be mentored. A minimum is my estimation, or my opinion, a minimum of 6 months. He says a full year. So what should a mentor be doing?
Well, at minimum, I think they should be following up and acknowledging the presence of the other person to encourage meeting attendance.
Oh.
We're at very basic levels.
Perfect, candy bar for her. At the very least, follow their attendance. If they're only being in attendance half of the time or less than half, you don't have to be nosy, but you can certainly find out, is it the time that is a commitment? Is it something else? Is there other things that you would rather be doing? Okay, what else can a mentor be doing?
I know there's a difference between sponsor and mentor, but sponsors still should be following up at some.
Oh, I agree with you.
And I was just thinking, I sponsored a lady a few months ago, and she's doing fine, but I think I need to sit down with her the next week or two and just have a little
Yes.
chat about how we're doing, and if she has any concerns.
There are some sponsors who make wonderful mentors. And it's just a one-stop shop thing. You got it all made and you don't have to worry about it. But there are others that don't do a good job.
I think sponsors could at the very least follow up at some point, even if they're not good mentors.
And I agree with that. And some key questions would be, have you made some new friends in the club? Have you had a chance to do any networking? Do you feel welcome? Is the time for the meetings working out for you? Have you been invited to participate in a committee? Do you have any questions about Rotary? Some people would not have a question at the 6-week mark, but at the 4-month mark, they may have, because they just understand a little bit more. So That's what a mentor is. Well, you know what the definition of a mentor is, but it's taking time. You can take them out to coffee, or you can just see them at the meeting, and at the very least, once every 3 meetings or 4 meetings, at the very least, try to sit at the same table with them and connect with them. How is it going? And you can read many times a lot of nonverbals in their answer. And like I said a few minutes ago, every new member deserves a mentor. They really do. Be fair to them. Don't just induct them. Make them come to a Rotary orientation, say, okay, they're going to do that, and then check that off the list, and then just let them fend for themselves. It's just not fair. You wouldn't want that done for you. Did you have a question?
Well, I'm just going to make a comment. I think part of it is, it's one thing to orient them and sort of show them all the resources, but unless you follow up with them, a lot of the new members aren't necessarily going to ask questions. It's not until they're pressed that you have to engage them, one-on-one to.
Absolutely. I hope we all heard that, and he deserves a candy bar. Very good.
I think it's
That's the only reason why he suggests that, because he was hoping it would qualify for a candy bar, and it did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand what the definition of a club's mentor is. For ours, we have a large club, so we define it as helping a new member navigate the culture of our club.
Oh,
Because we
navigating the culture of the club.
And then within the context of that somewhat complicated culture of our big old club, it's important for that mentor to help that person understand how they can engage. And it's no set rule. There's no one member's engagement going to look like the next. So it's really important. And so a mentor is not someone to tell so much as it is someone to listen, and from those conversations discern how to help that person engage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, he said, every club has a culture. At least I thought that's what he said. Rotary has a culture, but different clubs have their own culture. And hopefully, when you invite somebody to come into your club, you think it's going to be a good match for the member, and it's going to be a good match for the club. But it doesn't automatically happen. It does not automatically happen. You need to spend some time and nurture them and listen to them. Exactly what he said. Have you had a candy bar yet? If so, that's it. No more. That's it. Anybody else? Yeah.
I was just thinking about talking to the person that you bring in, and if you find out that one of their hang-ups is like our new meeting, is it working out for them? And they thought it would, but it isn't. I wouldn't feel so partial to my own noon club that I wouldn't send them to the morning club and say, stay in Rotary, but we've got to find this spot for you.
That's right. And you can do that in Ames, because you've got 2 different clubs. In a lot of other areas, the nearest club is going to be 50 miles away, and it just doesn't work. But that's a great idea.